Today we're going to learn about vector graphics. And to show you the difference between vector graphics and other kinds of graphics, I've got a little example for you. I've used Paint, which is sort of the standard version of a graphics program for Windows, to make a very simple little drawing with a rectangle and some airbrushed red paint. Everything looks fine until I zoom in. And if I zoom in even more, it becomes very obvious that when I was drawing, all I was actually doing was making a series of little squares. Okay, these squares are called pixels, and basically all photographs and pictures have these if you go close enough. Really good cameras have very small pixels. Better cameras, better televisions, better graphics have smaller pixels. So if you get really close up to an old television, you can see little pixels that make an image up as you get further away. Vector graphics, on the other hand, like the picture you see right here, as I get closer and closer and closer, they're not made out of pixels. They're made out of lines. And what happens is as you get closer and closer, you don't lose any of the detail that you have from far away. That's what makes vector graphics. And today we're going to learn how to make this same sort of image using a program called Inkscape. So we're going to be making this image called Tux the Penguin. Now we're going to stop for a second and take a look at him. He's pretty cool, but I want you to take notice of the fact that he's really basically a set of circles and a few triangles. Almost every piece of Tux we can make just by using different circles. So for example, look at the eyeball, and I'll zoom into one of those. Okay? If you look at his right eye, it's a series of circles. We have the overall eye, we have the black pupil, and a little white iris inside. Then we have this sort of glare shadow type effect, which is also a circle. We put all those together and we get what looks like a sort of a pretty realistic eye. So we're going to break this project into two parts. The first part, we're just going to go ahead and make all the shapes that will become Tux. In the second version, I'm going to show you how to use gradients to get the sort of shadowing effect that we have inside the eye and the beak and down on the feet. And you'll see that those gradients make Tux look a lot more realistic. Okay, so let's get rid of this stuff. On your desktop, there should be an icon for Inkscape. Now that Inkscape is opened up, you'll see the interface. And as usual, we've got a lot of different options here. Just to start off with, we're not going to need very many of them. One thing I do need to do, however, is come to this button right here. I need to click that, I need to open up a certain toolbar. We will be using this toolbar quite a bit, so you can keep that over there on the right side. I want to go over a few basic aspects of the interface before I get started. One important thing is if I press the plus key or the minus key on the keyboard, that allows me to zoom in. That'll be very useful. This black rectangle you see represents the actual piece of paper that we're working on, so you should keep your drawing within that piece of paper. On the left-hand side, we have many of our more commonly used tools. The one we'll use most often today is the one to create circles and ellipses. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a couple of shapes. Okay. I've drawn the shape. If I come up here to my Select tool, now I can manipulate the shape by using these arrows and changing its size. If I click again, they change, and now I can rotate it. Okay. If I come down to the bottom and click on different color, that shape will change. I'm going to click off of that shape, that's very important, and I'll draw another shape. And I'll make that blue. Now one of the things you'll notice is the rectangle is on top of the circle. It is sort of higher up, it's closer to us. And if I click on that rectangle or the circle, I get some options up here that are kind of important. I have lowered the selection one step, and you see what happened. is it lowered it so that the circle now became on top. I can raise it, and on the ends I have lower selection all the way to the bottom. So if we had several shapes, this would put it all the way in the very bottom, and this one would put it all the way on the very top. Yeah, that's going to become very important as we move forward. So let me get rid of these by clicking on them and pressing delete. And I want to real briefly talk about this toolbar over here on the right. We have 3 tabs. We have Fill, Stroke Paint, and Stroke Style. Right now the Fill is set to our blue color. I could change that up here as well. And it's set to a flat color. That's what it needs to be. Later on, we'll learn how to use linear gradients. Another important slider is down here. This takes it from a nice dark color and makes it more and more transparent until I get all the way over to the very left, and that color is now completely transparent. The little gray and dark gray checkerboard, that means transparent. That means there's nothing there. So I need to make sure my slider's all the way over. Stroke paint. Stroke paint means the actual outline of the shape. And right now, stroke paint and stroke style. The stroke is the outline of the shape. And right now, for my stroke paint, I have sort of a dark black color selected. And for the style, I have it set an 11 pixel width. I can turn that up to get a deeper outline, or turn it down for a more narrow one. For our purposes, actually, today we're going to go to stroke paint and we're going to make sure that there's no paint. We don't want to have any outline for our shapes. Okay, that's enough sort of background. Let's get started with Tux the Penguin. Like I said, for the most part, we're going to be using circles. So let me go ahead and grab my circle tool. I'm going to press plus to zoom in a little bit. And we're going to start by making his body. I'm going to zoom in a little too far. I'm going to make a nice big circle for his body. And now I can move it and change it however I like. Okay, Tux doesn't have to be perfect because he's more like a cartoon. So actually little imperfections will make him look more real. I'm going to click down here and give him a black body though. Okay, and I'm going to click over here to unselect my circle, and I'm going to draw another one. This one, I'm going to click on the white. And you see up in the right hand corner right now my fill is set to white. And we're going to draw sort of an area for his face. And we'll put that right there. Okay, now let's get parts of his tummy. We're going to grab a nice dark gray. Oops, see what I did there? Is before I went to make his stomach, I forgot to unclick off of his face. So I need to click up here and click off of his face. Now I'm going to go get the circle, get a nice dark gray, and give a this is going to be sort of a very big, most of his front. Okay. I'm going to go click off of that circle, get a lighter gray, and I'm going to make an inner circle. Just like that. Okay, let's go ahead and do his eyes. And I realized I did something that I always do by accident the first time, and I made his face white. But actually his face has sort of a light gray, sort of the same as this part of his stomach. So let's click off of that. Let's grab some circles. And we need to make some eyes. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit by pressing the plus key. And I like to have one eye going vertical, one eye going horizontal. I think it gives them a little bit more character. Then I'm going to go inside of this eye, and I'm going to make another circle. This one colored black. And I'm going to do one more. Oops, Control Z. I'm going to do one more. Keep doing that. I need to click on. And I'm going to make the inside of that eye. I'm going to come over here. Do the same thing. So that needs to be white. Get my circle. Need to unclick off of that eye. Get the circle. Get a nice black. Sorry about that. Is that because I'm so close in? I am going to get a black circle. Click off of that circle, and then do another little white circle. Okay, and you can play with your eyes to make him look however you want to. I tend to go for a little bit of more of a crazy look by making his eyes a little bit different size. I do that on purpose. Okay, a couple more little details we need. We need some feet. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 1 foot. I like to make mine orange. Okay. And I'll tell you what, as I'm only going to make 1 foot for right now, and that'll become obvious why I do that a little bit later. Now all I'm really missing is a flipper and a beak. Okay, so I'm going to use a new tool this time called the Bezier curve. Bezier curves for us are just going to draw a straight line. So I'm going to grab the Bezier curve, going to click once, click again, and I'm going to connect them by clicking. I'm going to tell I want that also to be orange. And I'm going to do it one more time for a flipper. I'm going to go click once, click again, connect them. I want that one to be black. And one more time over here for his other flipper. Okay. And as I zoom out, you'll see that Tux is coming along. He's not quite there yet. If we compare him to the finished version, you can see that we have a ways to go. But really, I'm only really going to show you how to do 1 or 2 more things to go from this to make it look a lot more realistic. Okay, so stay tuned for the next video.